Okay. Okay, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Cordell McGarry. I'm a Senior Certification Officer in the Department of Procurement Services. And we're here today to talk about the ABCs of DBE and ACDBE certification, which is basically the DBE program stands for Disadvantaged Business Enterprise, and ACDBE stands for the Airport Concessions Disadvantaged Business Enterprise. Okay. Not sure if our slides are working, though. Yeah, let's try that if we can. We're having a little technical difficulty. We ask for your patience. Okay. Yeah, so we're having a little trouble navigating through the slides. No problem. So anyway, as we wait for our technicians to take care of our difficulty, we're going to talk a little bit about the program itself. Our goal today is to try to talk about the AC and DBE program requirements, the process for certification. We'll touch on the application itself and the benefits of being certified as a DBE and ACDBE with the City of Chicago, and pretty much what you can do once you're certified. Let me begin by just basically saying the programs are a tool. They're a tool to help you navigate and take advantage of business opportunities that are set aside for small-sized businesses. In the Department of Procurement Services, we are the contracting authority for the procurement of goods and services for the city. Our mission statement is to work together as a team with our customers to guarantee an open, fair, and timely process. We endeavor to establish, communicate, and enforce superior business practices in all things that we do. We firmly believe that integrity, public trust, and the law are our guiding principles in that endeavor. The City of Chicago, we are a federal grant recipient in that we receive funds from the U.S. Department of Transportation for roads, maintaining roads, transportation, airports, and the like. And because of that, we're obligated to have a program to assist small businesses. This program under the federal guide is known as the DBE, Disadvantaged Business Enterprise Program. It's governed under federal regulation, Part 49, CFR Parts 26 and 23. The objectives of the program are to ensure non-discrimination in the award and administration of Department of Transportation and Federal Aviation Administration assisted contracts that are used for highway, transit, airport programs and airport concessions. We endeavor to create a level playing field in which all businesses that are eligible can compete fairly for those assisted contract opportunities. The DBE program provides guidance for the participation of eligible firms and federally funded contract opportunities. Under the federal regulations, which are the guidelines for our program, it basically states that a business concern must be a for-profit small business, which is at least 51% owned and controlled by one or more individuals that are presumed to be socially and economically disadvantaged. And those people whose management and operations are controlled by one or more of those individuals, socially and economically disadvantaged persons. In essence, what we're talking about is that the business that we're looking at should be a small business that's at least majority owned and controlled by eligible individuals, such as minorities or women. And it's more than just having ownership on paper. You have to have control and management of that particular endeavor. Airport concessions, we try to also define airport concessions as businesses not just that are at the airport that are operating, let's say, restaurants or newsstands, but also businesses that provide management consultation services or provide goods and advertising services to the concessions that are operating at the airport. If you're operating in any of those venues, you can be considered an airport concessionaire as well. And looking at the certification requirements for our programs, we ask that, again, you be considered to be socially and economically disadvantaged. In the area of social disadvantage, we include the following groups in that category. We include Black Americans, Hispanic Americans, Native Americans, Asian Americans from either the Pacific or subcontinent, women, and there are other groups that are individuals that on a case-by-case basis, if they can establish a case that they were also subject to chronic discrimination over a historical period of time, could also be considered for certification as a DBE. On the side of economic disadvantage, of course, we're looking at small businesses, and we look at business size standards. Small businesses are defined primarily by the Small Business Administration. They have a process by which they do that, and they basically apply that size standard by industries. Businesses in our program are certified by industry or the type of work that they do. So for example, if I'm in construction as a plumber, the SBA has a classification for the type of work I do, and they've also defined a business size standard that would define whether or not I'm a small business. In many cases, as an example, they might say that over a 3-year period, if your sales average less than $14 million, you're considered a small business in the field of plumbing. And it's done by on a case-by-case basis by industry. And we use that as a yardstick in measuring the small businesses that participate in our program. Again, businesses are certified by industry. So, but in no case, no problem. In no case, should a business exceed a size standard of $23.98 million. And that dollar is what we're referring to as the gross sales of that business averaged over a 3-year period. Some industries, for example, in the construction trade, the SBA may consider you to be a small business with average gross sales of $35 million. That can be the case. But in the DBE program, no matter what, there's a ceiling of $23.98 million in terms of being considered a small business. For our ACDBE program, that figure is higher. It's roughly about $56.42 million, and it's calculated that way to take into account the capital investment that many concessionaires have to make going into an airport, and the realization that they have to recoup this over a period of time. So it considers that to be the basis for establishing a higher gross sales net threshold for the program. Other exceptions to the business size standards would be at the airport. If you're involved in car rentals, for example, you can have average gross sales of $75 million. If you're a small community bank that operates at the airport, and we do have some, if your size is under $1 billion, you're considered a small business for certification purposes. And in some cases, if you're an automobile dealer, as long as your employees don't exceed 300, you're considered a small business. Interesting. So, in addition to the business size standard, there's also a personal net worth standard that the owner has to meet. So again, the program is designed to try to provide assistance to small businesses that are economically or socially disadvantaged. Well, again, according to federal regulations, if an individual that owns and controls, let's say, a business has a personal net worth of over $1.32 million, they're not considered to be economically disadvantaged and wouldn't be allowed to participate in the program. There are certain adjustments we take into account in the calculation of that net worth, such as we will exclude the value of your personal residence or your investment in the business itself that's seeking certification. And after that, if your net worth is still at over $1.32 million, you're not considered to be economically disadvantaged. That's a position I think a lot of us would like to be in. So if you can meet those standards, economic and social disadvantage, then you're on your way to being certified. The next step then would be to go through the application process. And we basically tried to facilitate that by taking applications online, which we think is a more efficient way of doing it. You can apply for certification as a DBE, ACDBE, and as a matter of fact, for any of our certification programs online at www.chicago.mwdbe.com. It's a seamless process. You go online, you complete the application, you upload supporting documents. It's quite easy to do. Along with the application, again, you attach copies of all supporting documents which would relate to the application itself, and that you're on your way. During the application process, we will also stop by and provide what's called an on-site interview. We'll talk about that as well later on. Okay, so basically, and looking at the application process, there are a number of documents that you would need to include with the application. And we're going to touch on some of them here. There are some. These documents serve to support the information you provide in your application. So we do look for evidence of citizenship or legal residency, such as a driver's license, passport, or information that would basically identify yourself as being a legal resident of the country. We also ask for proof of contribution of the owners. And what we're talking about is evidence of your investment in your company. Typically, when you start a company, you do make some form of investment. It may be a small investment, it may be a large investment. We want to make sure that, one, you are investing in your company and no one else. We ask for business documents that will pertain to the type of business that you've organized yourself to operate as. There are many forms of operation. When you go into business, you can operate as a legal sole proprietorship. You can operate as a partnership, limited liability or legal liability corporation, or a small corporation itself. Each form of ownership has a certain structure and documents to evidence that type of structure. So if you come in and you apply in your corporation, we're going to ask for copies of bylaws. We're going to ask for copies of stock certificates. We're going to ask for articles of incorporation, those things that are needed to establish yourself as a corporation. And likewise, if you're a proprietorship, or such as the fact that you may be just you, yourself, and I doing business as under another name. For example, Cordell McGarry doing business as Cordell's Plumbing Service. Even though it's just me, I still have to have evidence of my structure, and in that case, I would need to provide you with a copy of an assumed name certificate that evidences that I'm operating in this particular way. So those are the type of documents you would need for that. Financial information we need as well in terms of compensation for the owners and key managers of the company. Typically that's done by W-2 or 1099 forms. We generally will ask for that for the current and previous 2 years. That compensation would apply no matter when your company started. I mean, it's 3 years of information that we're going to look for, no matter whether or not it was owned from the company itself or from another source. We just need to understand how you were compensated. We will also ask for financial statements, balance sheets, profit and loss statements, and supporting information. We'll also ask for tax returns, both corporate, if you're a business organized as a corporation, or individual tax returns. And typically these are asked for a period of 3 years. And that ties into the size standard comment I made earlier, where we look at 3 years of gross income as a way of averaging determining whether or not you're a small business. In the event that you're a startup and you don't have the information, you can still just basically let us know. We encourage you to tell the story. You're not penalized if you haven't been in business for 3 years, but if you have been, we will ask for the information that we do need it. Okay. So moving along, we also talked about the idea of a site visit. During the course of our review, we're going to look at basically the business itself. The applications and supporting information should tell us a lot about your business. Basically, itself, what it does, the ownership, background of the owners, its ability to run the business, and things of that nature. But we'll also come out to pay a visit. We want to. Federal regulations require that we perform a site visit interview with the owners of the business. This is in part to again, ascertain from yourself your ability to run the business, your management capabilities, as well as to view the business operations itself. That's required as a condition of certification. In most cases, I would say 99.99% of the time, we'll call you to let you know as part of the certification process. If we have difficulty reaching you or something or another that we can't connect, we can pop up at your doorstep. So it can be done that way. But of course, the most preferable way is to contact you before we come. Okay. So basically, if you can establish the following points, that the ownership is held by, a majority of the ownership is held by members of a social or economically disadvantaged class, and the business size itself falls into the category of what's defined as a small business by the SBA, and your personal net worth is under 1.32 million, then basically you've met the basic requirements for certification, inclusive of the fact that you, as the owner, are independent of influence from other non-minorities. So we look at quite heavily at the ownership's ability to control the business operations and to be independent, not dependent upon on resources that may be held by people or companies that are not considered to be socially or economically disadvantaged. Um, Basically, those are the most important parts of certification, and the burden of proof to prove all this rests on the applicant itself. So those are the things that we look for in the certification process. So we look, basically the benefits of being certified with the city. Well, one of the first ones is that there's no application fee. When you're certified as a DBE or ACDBE, there's no set term or expiration to your certification as well. You're certified indefinitely until such time as it comes to be that you're no longer eligible by virtue of the fact that you've been such a success that you've outgrown the size standard, or that you've become so wealthy that your net worth exceeds the threshold, or that you're no longer in business. I mean, those are the basic reasons why you may no longer be certified. We do require that you submit on an annual basis a no-change affidavit to affirm the fact that the business is still owned and controlled by individuals that are eligible for the program itself. Pardon me, and that there's been no changes in the economics or structure of the business that would cause it not to be considered certified. This is something that must be done on an annual basis. Once you're certified as a DBE or ACDBE, you have opportunities for participation in U.S., DOT, and FAA federally funded contracts. Those contracts could consist of, again, a number of different areas. It could be O'Hare expansion activity. It could be recent work that was done maybe on the Red Line, elevated trains, for example, or roads that we were constantly, or bridges that we're constantly involved in. And typically, funds that involve federal dollars will will ask for DBE or ACDBE participation. One additional benefit of being certified as a DBE and ACDBE is that once you're certified with the city, you're certified automatically for consideration with 5 other agencies that are also recipients of federal funds. Those agencies are the Illinois Department of Transportation, Chicago Transit Authority, Metra, and PACE. Together with the city, the 5 agencies comprise what's known as the Unified Certification Program, which is required under federal regulations, so that basically opportunities involving federal dollars that are going on at those agencies are also available for you to participate in. And there's no need to go to each agency and get certified in order to do that. So we do have a understanding with each other in that regard. In addition to that, we have a relationship with a number of we call sister agencies or assist agencies that provide assistance in helping small businesses go through the certification process. This relationship extends beyond our DBE and ACDBE programs to encompass all the city certification programs, of which there are 5. We also have an MBE program for minority-owned businesses and a WBE program for women-owned businesses. No matter the certification, we have these assist agencies can provide you assistance in helping you navigate the application process. They can also provide you a lot of assistance in just general business operations, and we encourage you to take advantage of them as well. We also have on our 8th floor in the Department of Business Affairs and Licensing assistance service too for small businesses. We'll help you also go through the application process. If you're already certified, we'll help you file your no-change affidavit and also answer questions and provide assistance to you as well. So again, that's another service that we try to provide. And finally, I mean, all of our programs, our DBE, ACDBE programs, our MBE programs, they all serve to demonstrate the city's, continued commitment to the access of minority and women-owned businesses, and their basically opportunity to participate in our programs itself. So we look for, and we encourage you to actually get certified with us. So, like basically summarizing it again, we provide one-stop certification. Once you're certified by the City of Chicago as a DBE, ACDBE, you're certified automatically with the 4 other agencies that I mentioned earlier, IDOT, Metra, PACE, and CTA. We also have a service in our own house. We call it DPA Alerts and Department of Aviation Alerts, which you can also access online at our website, citychicago.org. And also in the handouts that you've been given, there's also information that can help you get information regarding those features. To just sum it up, those features pretty much provide you with access to information on a regular basis, really on a live basis as it happens, As contract opportunities come about, we send out notices through our DBE and DOA alert system to let you know of the information coming about. We also use the vehicle to advertise our workshops and our events that we conduct throughout the year. Throughout the year, we're holding opportunities in communities throughout the city of Chicago. We provide several hundred opportunities. So we're doing construction summits, working with local area assist agencies and churches to talk about our programs, and you'll also get that information as well through the DPS alerts. One additional feature is that we publish what's called a quarterly buying guide. I think you may have a copy of the materials that were given to you this afternoon. Basically, the buying guide is a forecast of procurement opportunities. And basically what we do is we reach out to not just the city itself, but also our sister agencies like Cook County, Chicago Transit Authority, Chicago Public Library. We ask them to kind of give us an idea of what their anticipated needs are going to be. We take these forecasted needs and we put them in a guide to give you a sense of what's coming down the pike. These aren't real opportunities yet, but if you're subscribed to DPS alerts, once they come out and are formally announced, you'll be the first to know. Giving the heads up, you can kind of anticipate and plan for potential opportunities before they actually come, which is again a good tool to use itself. So basically we've talked about the program, we've talked about the purpose of the program, its requirements in general, and the benefits of being certified itself. Are there any questions that you may have at this point? Yes. I just want to.
So when startup businesses, what is it that you all are looking for? Or if you haven't filed corporate taxes yet, you don't have it.
Okay. Okay. What we're looking for from you is what we're looking for from everybody. And I tend to wear this statement out to the ground. Tell a story. That's the best thing you can do. As a startup, you don't have the advantage of having a track record that we could look at in the form of tax returns that may talk about what you've done in terms of gross sales, but most certainly you've organized the business. Hopefully you've got the skills that's needed to run the business in the areas that you're seeking. Again, if I'm Cordell McGarry, the plumber, and I'm just starting, hopefully I've gotten the necessary background to run a business either through education and training before I've organized, and that's going to be what I stand on. I'm going to present myself as a legally organized business. If I'm a proprietorship, I'm going to have a assumed name certificate, or if I'm a corporation, I'm going to have the documentation there. I'm going to have the background that I can demonstrate that I can actually perform the task that I'm seeking certification in. And if I'm the sole owner, I'm going to show you that I have evidence and control of ownership of the business. Those are the major elements that we would look at in this case.
That's basically the question of the no tax returns for companies that are starting up. And I know you kind of answered it a little bit in the presentation. So that's
Okay. So let me, and again, I'll just emphasize, telling the story is so important, not just as a startup, but even as an ongoing concern, because, you're asking us to look at you and make a determination of eligibility first off. We really want to understand what it is you do. And in many cases, when I look at applications that we receive in-house, so many times I will see a question that's indicated as NA, not applicable. And that's all I'm given. And that forces me to look at that application and maybe raise questions because in many cases I don't know why it's not applicable. So it needs to be explained. And what we didn't touch on during the workshop was the processing time for applications. By federal regulations, we endeavor to process certification applications completed with all supporting documents, mind you, within a 90-day period. So we strive to do that. And in most cases, we sometimes get it down to 60 days. But we try to do it within 90. But one of the things that we find that will always, kind of slow the process up is inaccurate information or information that doesn't thoroughly explain what's going on. Sometimes a one-word answer is just not sufficient. Sometimes it's important that we understand that what it is you do. Sometimes we'll get an application and a particular industry, for example, may use a buzzword that's unique to that industry. Like in IT, we might say software enhancement, okay? And in the industry, you may know that, but to someone else, they may not understand what that means. And it's important that we certify you in a proper category of energy. So it's important for you to explain to us what that entails. That helps us to understand.
I actually brought an application because I started mine, and under the area where it says certification history, if NA draws a flag or requires more detailed research on the applicant, then what should the person put here? There's actually two, also the gross receipts and things
Okay.
like that. What should they put in those areas?
So for a startup, certification history, NA could be for not previously certified. Or NA under gross sales would be NA business startup, company started in X year X. That would help to understand. If it's not there and we don't know you're a startup, then we're gonna ask you for the information, or we're gonna maybe think it's gonna raise a question. And basically, what happens when we have to come back to you is we'll reach out to you. We'll send you a letter that will basically ask for the information or ask for clarification of the information that you've given us, and we'll generally give you, let's say, maybe 20 days to respond, followed by 10 days after that. And if based upon if you don't respond, then we may have to just kind of close the application and move on. Or if the information is not complete, then we may have to come back. I'm just saying those things can prolong the processing of the application.
Okay. So would an attachment with an explanation, like for number 4, even though I put NA there, should I also put an attachment sheet explanation stating that it's a startup? Would that suffice?
I strongly encourage it. Again, that's telling the story.
Okay,
That's
just
telling
making
the story.
sure.
Other questions? Okay. Just summarizing again, we thank you for coming. I would encourage you to go through the information that you have. Again, we have 5 certification programs here in the city, and we also have other initiatives too for small businesses that makes this a very exciting time for the city and for small businesses. So feel free to go through the materials. You can contact our office. Our number is 312-744-4900, and we're always available to try to provide assistance wherever possible. We thank you. Yes.